Good morning, mighty warriors of the word. Today we're diving into a story that is packed with action, emotion, and a powerful lesson about promises. It's a story of a man named Jephthah, a rejected son, a bold leader, and someone who made a vow that changes everything. I'm Bible Class Betty. Let's get started. Oh, before we dive into today's lesson, we need to take a moment to look at our vocabulary. You see, the Bible uses words that we might not hear much anymore, or sometimes why they might mean something quite different than we're used to. So let's make sure we understand them first. That way, the message will be even clearer. All right, let's get started. Baal. Baal. Why, Baal was the main false god worshipped by many of the Canaanite people. He was often associated with fertility, storms, agriculture, but for the Israelites, worshiping Baal was dangerous temptation because it pulled their hearts away from the one true God. Time and again, the prophets warned against turning to Baal, reminding God's people to stay faithful. So when we see that name, we remember the importance of loyalty to the Lord. Baal. Boundary. Boundary. Why, a boundary is a dividing line that marks where something ends and where something else begins. Consent. Consent. Consent means to agree, to say yes with your heart, your words, your actions. It's when you express willingness or approval to something. Consent. Contend. Why, to contend means to struggle, to compete, or to face off in a challenge. It's what you do when things get tough and you don't back down. Dispossess. Dispossess. It means to take away someone's land, home, or their right to live somewhere. It's when someone loses what they once had, especially because of a conflict, judgment, or power. Dispute. Dispute. A dispute is when people have a strong disagreement. Sometimes it gets loud, angry, or even turns into a fight. It's more than just not getting along. It's when emotions run high and people clash. Distress. Distress. Why, it means to bring serious trouble or danger or desperate need. It's when everything feels like it's falling apart and you don't know what to do. That's distress. Forsaken. Forsaken. Why, to forsake someone means to give up on them, to abandon or to leave them. It's a heavy word, often filled with sorrow. Fugitive. Fugitive. Why, a fugitive is someone who runs away, not because they want to, but because they have to. Why, they're escaping danger, war, or persecution. They're looking for safety, peace, and hope. A fugitive is someone who flees their home to survive. They might be running from violence, injustice, or fear. Fugitive. Lament. Lament. Why, to lament means to mourn out loud, to cry, to wail, to pour out your pain with your voice. It's not just feeling sad. Why, it's expressing sorrow deeply and openly. Misery, misery. Why, misery is when someone is in a deep state of suffering. They're hurting, struggling, and often feel hopeless. Why, it can come from poverty, loss, or even bad choices. Misery. Oppress, oppress. Why, to oppress means to crush or abuse by power or authority, to forsake someone, or to often it's filled with much, much sorrow, and it's done by an abuse of power. Possess. To possess something means to own something, to hold on to it as if it's yours, or to take control of it. It's not just borrowing, it's claiming it as your very own. Possess. Prostitute. Prostitute. To prostitute something means to devote it to corrupt purposes, to take something good and use it in a way that dishonors God. Seize. Seize. To seize means to grab a hold of something with power, to take it by force, especially when it's not freely given. It's bold, it's intense, it's often used in moments of battle or urgency. Seize. Subdue. Why, to subdue means to overcome something, often in battle, or to bring under control. In the Bible, you'll see this word when God's people are taken possession of a land, or when someone brings their enemies or even their own desires into obedience. It's about gaining control, not just with strength, but sometimes with discipline and purpose. Subdue. Virgin. Virgin. A virgin is a young woman who has never been married. Why, she is known for being pure in heart, her thoughts, and her actions. Virgin. Vow. Why, a vow is a serious promise, not just something you say to forget. It's a solemn statement that you're going to do something, and once you say it, you are bound to keep it. Vow. So let me ask you, have you ever made a promise you wish you could take back? Have you ever felt left out, only to be needed later? Have you ever had to choose between victory and sacrifice? Well, buckle up, because Judges chapters 10 through 12 takes us on a journey through all of it and more. Think about that while we review some of our chapter rhymes from the last few weeks. Deborah and Barak sing a happy jive, celebrating the Lord in Jael in Judges 5. Gideon tore Baal and Asheroth to sticks, but he did it at night in Judges 6. Gideon and just 300 strong men took over Midian in Judges 7. Zebah and Zalmunna suffer the same fate. Gideon kills both of them in Judges 8. A millstone to the head. Abimelech's not fine. He's struck by a woman in Judges 9. Well, when do chapters 10, 11, and 12 take place? Well, most scholars are going to think that it takes place between 1450 BC and 1000 BC. The precise dates are still debated. Judges 10 is going to cover at least 63 years of Israel's history. Where are these events going to take place? Most of Judges 10 centers around the land of Gilead. Gilead was on the east side of the Jordan River. God's land and the southern part of Manasseh territory were in Gilead. They've turned away from God, and now they're suffering under enemy attacks. They cried out, and God listened, but not without reminding them of their past. Well, here we're going to enter Jephthah. He was cast out by his family because of his background. He's living far from home, and he's leading a band of outcasts. And suddenly he's called back to lead Israel into battle. Well, we ended the last two lessons when God had raised up Tola and Jair to deliver his people from the hands of their oppressors. Verse 6 is going to begin with, the people of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. Oh, that phrase is repeated 7 times in the book of Judges. It shows that the evil of Israel was even worse because they did it before the eyes of God. Well, what will we learn today? I'm hoping we learn how God uses unlikely people to do great things. Why, vows and promises matter, especially when they're made to God. And we'll learn how victory can come with a cost and how to trust God through it. So grab your Bibles, open your hearts, and let's get ready to explore a story that's not just about battles, but about bold choices, deep faith, and a power of commitment. Let's find out what happens to a man who makes a vow and how God responds. Oh, do you see my Bible, my friends? Let's take a look. There are colors to help us understand what we're reading. The words in blue show us the names of people. The words in green point us to places, why to cities. And the words highlighted in yellow are quotes. Those are people speaking. And when you see ones in red, oh, that means that God is speaking. Now that we know what to look for, let's begin reading in verse 1 together. Further disobedience and oppression. The people of Israel again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord and served the Baals and the Asheroths, those false gods. See, it says the gods of Syria, the gods of Sion, the gods of Moab, the gods of Ammonites, the gods of the Philistines. Notice those G's are lowercase because they ain't the real thing. And they forsook the Lord and did not serve him. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. Oh, he sold them into the hands of the Philistines and into the hands of the Ammonites, and they crushed and oppressed the people of Israel that year. For 18 years, they oppressed all the people of Israel, and they were beyond the Jordan in the land of the Ammonites, which is in Gilead. And the Ammonites crossed the Jordan and fought also against Judah and against Benjamin and against the house of Ephraim, so that Israel was severely distressed. And the people of Israel cried out to the Lord, "We have sinned against you, oh, because we have forsaken our God and have served the Baals." Oh, Israel again has left the Lord and is serving idols of Baal and the Asheroths. The one true God becomes angry and lets them go into the hands of the Ammonites and sells them into slavery and to the Philistines. For 18 years, the Ammonites oppressed them, even crossing over the Jordan until Israel cried out to God, admitting her sin. Verse 11, and then the Lord spoke to the people of Israel. See the words in red? God's about to tell them something. Did I not save you from the Egyptians and from the Amorites and from the Ammonites, and from the Philistines, the Sidonians, also the Amalekites, the Maonites oppressed you, and you cried out to me, and I saved you out of their land. Oh, yet you have forsaken me and served other gods. Therefore, I will save you no more. Go and cry out to the gods whom you have chosen. Let them save you in your time of distress. And the people of Israel said to the Lord, we have sinned. Do to us whatever seems good to you. Only please deliver us this day. So they put away the foreign gods from among them and served the Lord. And he became impatient over the misery of Israel. You see, the Lord lists for Israel the many nations that he's already saved them from. The Egyptians, the Amorites, the Ammonites, the Philistines, the Sidonians, the Amalekites, and the Maonites. Oh, now, however, God threatens to save them no longer. He tells them, why don't you ask for help from those gods you've chosen to bow down to? But when Israel put away their foreign gods and began to serve the Lord, pleading with him to save them from their enemies, he could no longer bear to keep them in misery. Then the Ammonites were called to arms, and they encamped in Gilead. And the people of Israel came together and encamped in Mizpah. And the people, the leaders of Gilead, said to one another, who is the man who will begin to fight against the Ammonites? He shall be head over all of the inhabitants of Gilead. Well, here we see two armies, Israel and Ammon, facing each other. However, Israel is not quite ready for battle. They are missing something. No captain. Here they are on the verge of battle, desperately trying to fill the most vital position of the entire army. Since no one appears qualified, they open up this position for volunteers and throw in a little status and prestige as an incentive. We think the town of Mizpah was located somewhere in Manasseh. So, verse 10, Israel did evil, so they are in slavery again. They cry out to the Lord in Judges 10. So open up your Bibles and let's keep reading. Our story continues in chapter 11. Well, leading up to Judges 11, the Ammonites had oppressed Israel for 18 years. And now we're in the land of Gilead, and Gilead was on the east side of the Jordan River. Gad's land is on the southern part of the Manasseh territory, where we're in Gilead, and the lands of Edom, Moab, Ammon, and the lands of the Amorites are also are central to the story in Judges 11. These lands were on the east side of the Jordan River. So we're going to see the Ammonites. Oh, I hope we take them out. We're going to meet Jephthah. He's a mighty warrior from Gilead and the son of a prostitute. And we're going to meet Jephthah's daughter, Jephthah's only child. Verse 1, Jephthah delivers Israel. And now, Jephthah the Gileadite, a mighty warrior, but he was the son of a prostitute. Gilead was the father of Jephthah, and Gilead's wife also bore him sons. And when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Jephthah out and said to him, you shall have no inheritance with our father, for you're the son of another woman. Then Jephthah fled from his brothers and lived in the land of Tob. And worthless fellows collected around Jephthah. and went out with him. Oh, Jephthah was known for his strength in battles according to the Israelite tradition. Even the lawful children of a second wife or concubine would not inherit a father's estate, much less a child by a prostitute. But that in no way excused Jephthah's half-brothers for driving him away. The men that gathered around Jephthah were worthless fellows, wild and reckless. Even though these men were unruly, they respected Jephthah, for they chose to follow his leadership. Verse 4. After a time, the Ammonites made war against Israel. And when the Ammonites made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to bring Jephthah away from the land of Tob. And they said to Jephthah, "Come, be our leader, that we may fight against the Ammonites." But Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, "Did you not hate me and drive me out of my father's house? Why have you come to me now when you are in distress?" And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, "That is why we have turned to you now, that you may go and be with us, and fight against the Ammonites, and be head over all the inhabitants of Gilead." Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, "If you bring me home again to fight against the Ammonites, and the Lord gives them over to me, I will be your head." And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, "The Lord will be our witness between us if we do not do as you say." So Jephthah went to the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and leader over them. And Jephthah spoke all his words before the Lord at Mizpah. Now, when the Ammonites declared war against the Israelite, the elders of Gilead approached Jephthah about becoming their commander. Why, Jephthah reminds them that they once drove him away. The elders admitted that they're now in trouble and offered to elevate him to a continuing position of leadership if he'll fight the Ammonites. Jephthah restates their promise, and the elders reiterate their intention. This commitment was confirmed by the people in the presence of the Lord at Mizpah. Then Jephthah sent messengers to the king of the Amorites and said, "What do you have against me that you have come to fight against me and my land?" And the king of the Ammonites answered the messengers of Jephthah, "Because Israel, on coming up from Egypt, took my land away, from the Arnon to the Jabbok and to the Jordan. Now, therefore, restore it peacefully." Oh, it's already been confirmed that Jephthah was a man of courage. He first sent messengers to negotiate a deal, if possible. The reason given by the Ammonites for the attack is purely bogus, which we'll prove shortly. They said Israel took over their land when they came up from Egypt. The Arnon River borders the territory in dispute on the south, the Jabbok on the north, and the Jordan on the west. Verse 14. Jephthah again sent messengers to the Ammonites, and he said to them, "Thus saith Jephthah, Israel did not take away the land of Moab or the land of the Ammonites, but when they came up out of Egypt, Israel went through the wilderness to the Red Sea and came to Kadesh. Israel sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, 'Please let us pass through your land.' But the king of Edom would not listen, and they sent also to the king of Moab, but he would not consent. So Israel remained in Kadesh. Then they journeyed through the wilderness and went around the land of Edom to the land of Moab and arrived on the east side of the land of Moab and camped on the other side of the Arnon. But they did not enter the territory of Moab, for the Arnon was the boundary of Moab. Israel then sent messengers to Sihon, the king of the Amorites, king of Heshbon and Israel, and said to him, "Please let us pass through your land to our country." And Sihon did not trust Israel to pass through his territory. So Sihon gathered all his people together and encamped at Jabez and fought with Israel. And the Lord, the God of Israel, gave Sihon and all its people into the hand of Israel, and they defeated them. So Israel took possession of all the land of the Amorites who inhabited that country. And they took possession of all the territory of the Amorites from the Arnon to the Jabbok, and from the wilderness to the Jordan. So then the Lord, the God of Israel, dispossessed the Amorites from before his people Israel. And are you to take possession of them? Will you not possess what Chemosh, your fake God, gives you to possess? And all that the Lord our God has dispossessed before us, we will possess. Now, are you any better than Balak, that son of Zippor, the king of Moab? Did he ever contend against Israel? Or did he ever go to war with them? While Israel lived in Heshbon and its villages, and in Aor and its villages, and in all the cities that are in the banks of the Arnon, 300 years. Why did you not deliver them within that time? I, therefore, have not sinned against you, and you do me wrong by making war on me. The Lord, the judge, decides between the people of Israel and the people of Ammon. So Jephthah's reply lays out the following defense. As Israel traveled from Egypt to the promised land, he requested permission to pass through Edom and Moab. Both of the king's countries refused to grant access, so Israel skirted around them so as not to trespass. Next, the Israelites came up against Sihon, king of the Amorites, and asked if they could pass through his land. And the king responded by challenging them to war. And God gave Israel the victory, and the land in question passed into their possession. Why, Jephthah's defense continues. If God gave Israel that land, what claim does Ammon have to it? If Ammon's god, Chemosh, gave them territory, would they turn around and give it away? Furthermore, Balak, the great king of Moab and the Moabites, recent history never contested Israel's claim, and neither did anyone else for 300 years. Finally, Jephthah throws the whole issue open to God and asks him to make a decision. Verse 28. But the king of the Ammonites did not listen to the words of Jephthah and he had sent to him. Jephthah's tragic vow. Then the Spirit of the Lord was upon Jephthah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh, and passed on to Mizpah of Gilead, and from Mizpah of Gilead he passed to the Ammonites. And Jephthah made a vow to the Lord, and he said, "If you will give me the Ammonites into my hand, then whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the Ammonites shall be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering." So Jephthah crossed over to the Ammonites and fought against them, and the Lord gave them into his hand. So he struck them from the Or down to the neighborhood of Meneth, 20 cities as far as Abel Kerim, with a great blow. So the Ammonites were subdued before the people of Israel. Well, the king of Ammon did not pay any attention to the message that Jephthah sent. The Spirit of the Lord comes upon Jephthah, and he advances against the Ammonites. And as he does, he vows to the Lord to give him victory, and then he will offer a sacrifice of a burnt offering from whatever comes out of his house to meet him when he returns from a triumphant battle. God gives Jephthah victory against the Ammonites, devastating 20 of their towns and completely subduing them. Then Jephthah came home to Mizpah, and behold, his daughter came out to meet him with tambourines and dances. She was his only child. Besides her, he had neither son nor daughter. And as soon as he saw her, he tore his clothes. Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low, and you have begun to cause a great trouble on me, for I have opened up my mouth to the Lord, and I can't take back my vow. Seeing his daughter be the first to greet him upon his return had never occurred to Jephthah. The supreme excitement in the moment changed in an instant into sorrow. Jephthah's promise to God was not desired by God or required by God. It's an understatement to say that Jephthah's promise to the Lord has now put him in an awkward situation. He was grateful to God for the victory and did not want to lie to God and go back on his promise to the Lord, who had been so good to him. God hates a lying tongue, but he does not welcome in any way or condone human sacrifice. This is detestable to him. Jephthah knew he had made a vow to the Lord, even an imperfect vow. Notice, Jephthah does not inquire of the law of the Lord. It would have been better that this foolish pledge had never escaped his lips. Oh, but once the promise was made, multiple things could not make it right. Leviticus 5, verses 4 and 6 says, if anyone utters with his lips a rash oath to do evil or to do good, any sort of a rash oath that people swear and it is hidden from him, when he comes to know it, that it's foolish, and realizes he is guilty of these, when he realizes his guilt and confesses his sin, he shall bring it to the Lord for his compensation. For sin, a female goat from the flock, a lamb, or a sin offering, in atonement for a sin. Why, Jephthah didn't even know God's law well enough to know that he could go before God and fix this. Oh, Jephthah! Well, and she, the daughter, said to Jephthah, my father, you have opened your mouth to the Lord. Do according to me what is gone out from your mouth. Now that the Lord has avenged you to your enemies, the Ammonites. So she said to her father, let this thing be done for me. Leave me alone 2 months so that I can go up and down the mountain and weep for my virginity and with my companions. I can be sorrowful that I will never marry or have children. So he said, go. And he sent her away for 2 months. And she departed, she and her companions, and they wept for her on the mountains. And at the end of the 2 months, she returned to her father, who did with her according to the vow he had made. She had never known a man been married, and it became a custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went year by year do lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gilead 4 days a year. So Jephthah's daughter appears ready to allow her father to fulfill his vow, but requests that she and her friends be permitted to camp in the hills for 2 months to mourn that she will forever remain unmarried and childless. He grants her the petition, and after 2 months she returns, and Jephthah does to her as he had vowed. We do not read anywhere in this account that God was pleased with Jephthah's vow or his actions, nor do we read that Jephthah ever consulted God. Maybe that's the tragic part of this story. Jephthah vowed to make a sacrifice to heaven. It turns out it's his daughter in Judges 11. We're going to continue in chapter 12. And this time, we're right there in that circle in the area of Gilead. We see the Jabbok and River and Mizpah. Okay, we will be seeing the Ammonites here. They crushed and oppressed the people of Israel and wanted to make Israel's land their own. Remember, Jephthah defeated them in chapter 11. We'll also talk about Jephthah, the 9th judge of Israel, a mighty warrior from Gilead. He was the son of a prostitute. We'll talk about the Ephraimites who lived across the Jordan River from Jephthah's land in Gilead. They quarreled with Jephthah and started a civil war. We'll also meet Ibzan, the 10th judge of Israel. He judged Israel for 7 years. Next, we'll meet Elon, the 11th judge of Israel. He judged Israel for 10 years. And last, we'll meet Abdon, the 12th judge of Israel. He judged for 8 years. All right, let's keep reading in chapter 12. Jephthah's conflict with Ephraim. The men of Ephraim were called to arms to fight, and they crossed to Zaphon and said to Jephthah, "Why did you cross over to fight against the Ammonites and didn't call us to go with you? We will burn your houses over you with fire." Oh, and Jephthah said to them, "I and my people had a great dispute with the Ammonites, and when I called you, you did not save me from their land. And when I saw that you would not save me, I took my life into my own hand and crossed over against the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into my hand. Why then have you come up to me this day to fight against me?" Oh, this is the second time the tribe of Ephraim attacks a leader over a made-up neglect. Jephthah responds that he requested their help in the beginning, but they refused to come to his aid. So he proceeded without them, even risking his own life. And now they respond with hostility instead of gratitude. Then Jephthah gathered all the men of Gilead, and they fought with Ephraim. Oh dear. And the men of Gilead struck the men of Ephraim, because they said, "You are fugitives of Ephraim, you Gileadites," in the midst of Ephraim and Manasseh. And the Gileadites captured the fords of the Jordan against the Ephraimites. And when any fugitive of Ephraim said, "Let me go over," the men of Gilead said to them, "Are you an Ephraimite?" And when they said, "No," then they said to them, "Say Shibboleth." And they said, "Tibboleth." They could not pronounce it right. Then they seized him and slaughtered him in the fords of the Jordan. At that time, 42,000 Ephraimites fell. Jephthah judged Israel 6 years. And Jephthah the Gileadite died and was buried in his own city, Gilead. Well, Ephraim would not be pacified with Jephthah's words. They were intent on a fight. So there was a call to arms put down, Ephraim's threat of violence. At the fords of the Jordan, the individuals who attempted to cross were asked to say shibboleth. That's an ear of corn. For the first consonant was mispronounced, the SH versus the S. In the Ephraim dialect, the Ephraimites dialect did not contain any sound of an SH. So those who pronounced the word Sibboleth were identified immediately as Ephraimites and killed. Ephraim is finally put in their place after 42,000 of their citizens are cut down. Finally, Israel can settle down to 6 years of, relative quiet, after which Jephthah dies. Verse 8, Ibzan, Elon, and Abdon. After him, Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel. He had 30 sons and 30 daughters, and he gave in marriage outside his clan. They didn't marry Israelites. And the 30 daughters he brought from outside for his sons, and he judged Israel 7 years. And then Ibzan died and was buried in Bethlehem. The only thing we're really told about Ibzan's life is, his place of birth, Bethlehem, his burial, Bethlehem, the size of his family, 30 sons and 30 daughters, and evidently he followed the practice of marrying his children off to influential families outside of the district of his political ties. Well, after him, Elon the Zebulunite judged Israel, and he judged Israel 10 years. Then Elon the Zebulunite died and was buried in Ajalon in the land of Zebulun. After him, Abdon, the son of Hillel, the Pirathonite, judged Israel. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons who rode on 70 donkeys, and he judged Israel 8 years. Then Abdon, the son of Hillel, the Pirathonite, died and was buried in Pirathon in the land of Ephraim and in the hill country of the Amalekites. So again, we're given only a few facts. Elon was from the tribe of Zebulun, and he judged Israel for 10 years and was buried in Ajalon. After Elon came Abdon, and he was most known for his, sons and his grandsons and the donkeys they rode. Why, he judged Israel for 8 years. So Judges chapter 12. Say shibboleth, the Israelites yell. 42,000 Ephraimites die in Judges 12. Well, God is grieved when his kids are suffering. In chapter 10, verse 16, when Israel is once again dealing with the consequences of their idolatry, they cry out to him in their despair. Even though they keep choosing sin over God, his heart aches at their misery. If you feel heartbroken because of sin or other circumstances in your life, cry out to God. He promises to be near you. Well, let's see if I found any cartoons at all. And I'll tell you, this was just about the saddest lesson to find a cartoon about. Oh dear. Well, I think we may have seen this one. The ancient people, since we had all those ites, the Israelites, the Midianites, the Ammonites, and the overbites. And then this one. see his daughter's coming out with her tambourine to greet Dad. Now you come out to greet me? She hadn't come out to see Dad before. It's almost funny if it hadn't have been such a sad tale. Well, homework this week is going to be study guide, Judges chapters 3 and 4. And then we're going to review our chapter heading cards, all of Joshua, and review Judges chapters 1 through 12. Well, we've seen how Jephthah went from being a cast out to being called up, and how one vow changed everything. His story reminds us that God can use anyone, even those who feel, forgotten. But it also teaches us to be wise with our words, especially when making promises to God. So as we close today, remember, victory comes through faith, not just strength. Vows are serious. Think before you speak. And God listens when we cry out, even in our mess. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.